I just dropped out because I hated school. I started my company while being a student, and I just realized, like, man, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to have a job. This is what I have to do. So I just
Lawrence, welcome to the show, bro. How are you?
doing absolutely phenomenal, man. It's great to be here. I hope you're having a great day as well.
I am, bro. Thank you. So, you're a successful guy, as I've seen. You've just got back from Spain. How old are you, bro?
I'm 21 years old.
21-year-old. And you said you've been on multiple vacations the last few months.
Interesting. Yeah, that's right. I've been to 6 countries within the last 2 months. But you have to understand, I'm in Belgium, so the Netherlands and Germany is pretty close, so it's not really a big deal. But besides that, I went on my first solo trip to Portugal 2 months ago. And in the meantime, last week I was in Spain, and 3 weeks ago I was in Prague. So yeah, trying to travel a little bit. It's super nice, and I enjoy to see more of the world. So, and that's like one of the greatest thing about having your own online business. You're able to work from anywhere in the world. So
That's sick, bro. Tell us about your online business. What is it you exactly do?
to give the full story, I started out while being a student in college, and I eventually dropped out of college to went full time into business. But what it is I'm mostly doing is I'm actually making websites for companies. So I provide an all-in-one website solution. We don't have to go into it in depth, but I'm basically helping companies and entrepreneurs to get the maximum potential online. And besides that, I'm an online creator as well. I'm very active on Twitter. I share here my lessons and knowledge, and I help people to do the same and start their own business as well.
Okay, so you were doing it whilst in college. Did you drop out after you started making a decent amount, or did you just drop out because you wanted to focus purely on that?
That's a great question. I know a lot of people who are into business while being in college. They always recommend you to make sure you have enough money before dropping out. For me, that was not the case. I just dropped out because I hated school. Like I didn't care about like being successful enough yet. And I still don't think I'm that successful. By far, I'm not where I want to be. But to make the point, like I started my company while being a student, and I just realized, like, man, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to have a job. This is what I have to do. So I just decided to go full time for it. I dropped out, and it was more a decision out of doing what I wanted to do and having my own self direction instead of already making enough money to drop out.
So obviously you didn't want to have a job. How did you fund the business without any job, any form of income?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, I like to be very realistic on this. So there's a difference between having an online hustle and actually having a company. It's a lot of different. Depending on your country, you have to think about which taxes, like the local laws, everything about that. For me, being a student gave me a lot of benefits regarding my taxes and things like that. So I could start my company for a few €100 and that's it. So it's not really that difficult, and I didn't really have any taxes because I was a student. But yeah, man, when I turned over, things changed. Like I'm paying like €5,000 for just insurance and things like that, and that's without even the taxes. So things change, but that's just how it goes. You just have to make enough money to afford the things you have to afford. So
So you didn't have many outgoings because it was a service-based business. You could do it by yourself without having to pay anyone to do it for you. How did you develop the skill to provide this service?
So I actually learned about web development and things at school, but I've always been a bit online, and I've always done things online, and I have been able to combine my skills from college and from my online journey and bring it together, and that gave me some sort of uniqueness in that sense. So I kind of did things on my own, but I quickly scaled to outsourcing, delegating, and building a team. Because I found out I don't really necessarily like to do production work or in the sense of creating things online. Of course, I love to express my creativity, but I prefer to be in a management position. So I quickly learned to hire people, fire people, bring a team together, and just get results. But yeah, I learned it on myself, and I think everybody can be able to learn any skill online, especially in these days and age. Go to YouTube, buy a course. It's not difficult to build a skill, but you have to understand having a skill in itself is definitely not enough. You need to be able to make money. When I started out, I had my skill, and I quickly learned, okay, now I need to learn sales, I need to learn marketing, and that's far more valuable than any skill you have. So whenever someone is starting out, they're freelancing or things like that, I always recommend them to, of course, improve their skill, but at the same time, work on marketing, work on sales, work on networking, because that's what eventually is going to bring you in the money. So
Definitely, but I really agree with that. So you said you don't really love providing a service. So obviously you enjoy it, but you don't love it. I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs recently say you don't need to enjoy what you're doing to become successful. You don't need to work on your passion. As people say, you know, if you work on your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. What's your opinion on that?
Well, first of all, I think it is in some sense important to be able to enjoy what you're doing, but you have to understand like what is it that you're doing. For me, the most important thing is to have my own online business, which allows me to have freedom, work from anywhere in the world, and not having a basic 9 to 5. If I have to do things I don't enjoy, that's it. That's life. I have to do things, I'll go for it. In general, in terms of passion, I've heard someone say you have to make money online to eventually fulfill your passion. Like most of the time your passion is not going to pay you. If your passion is to draw art or like make songs or anything, it's not necessarily going to pay you money, man. Like just make sure you have enough money so that you can actually fulfill your passion, you know, like focus on what matters. And if you look at business perspective, what from my opinion, business is all about providing value and having genuine valuable relationships. So that's where you have to focus on. And if your passion is something that isn't valuable for other people, it doesn't make sense to make money out of it. So focus on actually providing a valuable thing, focus on being worthy, and then you'll eventually be able to work on your passion. And also you have to allow yourself to discover what it is you want, you know?
I definitely agree with that. So I think as an entrepreneur, recently I realized, because obviously I've got my agency, I don't really enjoy providing the service itself. I enjoy the management and the overall just seeing growth in the business. It's not all about passion. You need to just find the money first, and then you can have your free time and work on your passions whilst you're providing your business. So what I wanted to ask you, when you were a teenager, when you were younger, were there any signs of you becoming an entrepreneur? Were there any skills you've developed? What was your thought process when you were younger?
During high school and just throughout my younger life, I never really knew what I wanted to do, and I found it very difficult to figure out what I'm going to do in life. And I think a lot of people were recognizing this because you go to high school, you go to school, and you're kind of put in this framed environment. At 15 years old, you have to decide what profession you would like to study, what it is you want to do. And they never even give you the insights or give you like any real possibilities like, hey, this is possible. And I think the world is very limiting on that field. And I always had the struggle of finding out what it is I wanted to know. But someone once told me, if you don't know what to do, figure out what you don't like to do. So it's the opposite. So I like, okay, well, I don't want to work a job my whole life. I have no problem like doing work and working for someone. I think I'm an excellent employee. But it's like, I know eventually I would have to do things on my own, you know? So for me, the starting point was definitely figuring out what it is I didn't want to do. And that will create the things like, hey, this is what I have to do instead. So yeah, it's just a journey of discovering and going through everything in life.
Obviously, school makes workers, it doesn't make entrepreneurs. Do you think it's necessary for someone to even learn further than basic maths and English when it comes to if they want to become an entrepreneur, or what?
Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. Like it really depends on what you're going to do. And this is a very broad topic. College on its own is super valuable and it's only a great addition, you know. I'm not talking bad about school or anything. But eventually you have to do something on yourself. I always say it doesn't matter what you do at school, it matters what you do outside of school. Even if you go to study computer science, things like that, you still have to develop your own skills. You still have to network outside of school. So always focus on the things you can do beside it. And for me, like when I finished high school, I wanted to decide to either go into the field of logistics or computer science. I finished logistics as a degree in high school, and I really genuinely liked the field. I think it was interesting. I kind of felt natural in doing it. And I was thinking of going in some sort of management position within logistics, and I will like it, but it will be very limiting. Like I can't use my logistic management skills outside of my job, you know? So then I was like, okay, at some point I already knew I have to start my own business. So I chose to study computer science because I would learn skills I could utilize besides my job. I already knew that. So and then eventually I just dropped out and I was like, man, fuck school. I'm just doing it on myself. So
You missed a bit of like the college lifestyle, you know, partying and stuff. Do you think what was the biggest sacrifice towards your success, you believe?
well, first of all, I don't think I'm that successful. I'm just doing my thing and I'm always working on improving myself. But I don't really have any problem sacrificing for anything because I can easily work 12 or 16 hours a day. It doesn't matter, you know. I find it quite enjoyable to actually do the things I'm doing. I find it enjoyable to network and to build connections and to produce things and work for projects. Like, of course, I'm chilling way less with my friends. I spend way less time going out. I spend way less time wasting time. But my mindset towards those things have changed as well. I can't really enjoy anymore to waste my time. From time to time, you can see me doing nothing, but it doesn't happen a lot. Like I'm very purposely using my time and my energy. I'm always focused on how to be productive, how to do actually things that are worthful, because I have a mission. I want to be there. I want to be successful in my sense in what I have in mind, So I have to work on it daily. I have to go to the gym to build myself. I have to study. I have to network. I have to put in the hours. So for me, the sacrifice is really more of a time part. Perhaps at the same time, it's also a bit of relationship part. But I do think by building yourself and by also focusing on your own journey, you will attract the right people. Because in your environment, your friends from high school or anything like that, it's very natural, and I hear this from a lot of people, that the people in your environment are not really like-minded. This is something that happens a lot, and that's why a lot of people turn to places on like Twitter or internet. They're watching content and they feel recognized. They feel like, hey, this is what I want to do. Because if I speak for myself, I discovered the whole self-improvement part online. I began reading books, and I was really amazed by the things in the world. My eyes opened. I was like, oh man, this is so amazing. There are so many possibilities and this is awesome. And if I talk to my friends or my family, they didn't understand it. They were so close-minded, man. If I showed them like a guy who was shown like selling a course online, they were like saying like, man, it's a scam, it's fake, you can't do it, it's not for us. And now I know people who are selling courses and they're making a ton of money and they're super successful. I've been able to connect with people I watched YouTube videos from back in the days, and that's super amazing, man. So it's definitely, I think, a very important trait in order to be where you want to be, is to always listen and think for yourself. You have to be humble enough to learn from others and be adaptable, be flexible, but at the same time, you have to be so stubborn that you can go your own way. And for me personally, I found it very important to have self-direction. I want to be able to do what I think is right. So, yeah, I'm just very focused and determined in that way.
Obviously, you're hard worker, you're willing to sacrifice 12 to 16 hours a day working. A lot of people say, work-life balance. What's your take on that? Is it necessary or not?
Honestly, man, I have no idea what it means. Like, bro, why wouldn't you want to balance it? I think it's all about the lifestyle. I think you have to create more of a lifestyle instead of like a work routine, let's say. Because a lot of people try to say, oh man, I would love to have the work-life balance. But I don't operate in that way. I like to have the lifestyle of being able to work where and when I want. So that's really the thing, man. And online business is more of a lifestyle than having that job. And a lot of people who are thinking about the work-life balance, they are so used to being able to do work. Their work and their life is a whole separate thing. For me, it's the same thing. My life is my work is my life. It's all the same thing. It's very natural for me. Even if I'm going out or I'm chilling, I'm still on my phone. I'm still engaging on social media for business purposes. So it really depends on everything you do around it. And for me, it's just kind of attracting all the right things and purposely doing what I like to do. Like I don't even consume entertainment on social media. I perhaps do from time to time. I like to watch some funny stuff, but in general, everything I consume and everything I put into my mind is helping me towards my goals.
I think that's a big thing, because obviously the big difference between entrepreneurship and working a normal job. As an entrepreneur, you never really switch off. You're always thinking about things. It can get stressful, but do you ever really get stressed or not?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, I get overwhelmed, I get stressed, I get feeling of a burned out or anything like that, but it doesn't matter, like I just have to do what I have to do. And well, the thing is, a lot of people won't be able to be an entrepreneur because they will not be able to work full time. Like if you have your own business, you're never resting. You always have to do something. So it's just depending on if you are able to handle it. And I kind of like it. I like to be under stress because it helps me to perform. I really love it to be super busy, like having a lot of things to do, having a lot of... I like it when my messages are full of requests and I have a ton of requests on every platform. I have tasks to do. I have people calling me. It helps me to stay productive. It's like, okay, I have to do this. It keeps my mind sharp. And I think stress is for some reason super good. Like it really helps you to stay productive and stay on track. But that's personally for me, like a lot of people are not able to handle it. And in general, I do think my stress tolerance is pretty high compared to the average one. But
You spoke about burnout. Is there any ways you deal with burnout? Because personally, if I feel a bit burnt out, I just keep on pushing and then it just eventually goes away. Are you like that as well?
yeah, exactly, man. I think it's really back to the lifestyle. I do like to meditate from time to time. It's something I'm totally not consistent with, but I like to be, because it helps me give some sort of inner rest. And I'm also, going to the gym, staying healthy. So I really think if you create the right amount of habits, the right healthy habits, it will stimulate your whole journey in entrepreneurship as well. It's all about the lifestyle. And to talk about the meditation part, it is something a lot of people find cringy and they think it's like only for losers or anything, you know. But I recently started doing kickbox like 2 months ago, and it's a very active thing, you know. It's a very active and intense thing. But if you meditate, it will help you with the kickbox. Although the kickboxing is very intense, the meditation gives you some sort of direction and inner rest, which allows you to have more stable and more clear punches, you know. So everything stimulates together, and I think it's super important to be able to have some rest within yourself, being able to be calmful, and in general, yeah, just put in the work, man. If you become better, if you become competent, you become more confident, you know. So just always focus on improving yourself. That's my message.
Definitely, but you're doing a lot throughout your day. Do you follow a routine of some sort, or do you just do whatever you have to do for that day?
It depends, man. I used to be kind of strict. I used to wake up 5 a.m., walk the dogs, go to the gym, things like that. But now I'm kind of shifting. It also because of the season. But I think the most important thing is to actually stay on track and do what you have to do. A routine it's only beneficial to have some sort of stableness in your life and some sort of direction. But you have to be able to steer with the wind and always do your thing regardless of the events. So I just have my habits. I go to the gym often. I do my things. I don't read my books that often. You can see my books right there, but I'm not that consistent with it. I don't consistently meditate. I don't do cold showers every time, but it doesn't matter, you know, as long as you're actually putting in the work and making progress, that's all what happens. And also, you look at a lot of these successful people like Jeff Bezos or anything, and they have the super healthy habits, but they are already a billionaire. For them, of course, it is important. They have a lot to handle. They have stuff to do. So for them, it's super beneficial to have a super strict schedule. But if you're just starting out, man, you just have to put in the work. You don't have to focus on, okay, I have to meditate for this time. I have to write for 20 minutes a day. Like, of course, it's beneficial. Of course, it helps you to write. It's great to meditate, but it's not like you are going to be successful just by doing this routine, you know?
So obviously you have to start small. A big question I'd like to ask you to end up here. Someone that's working a 9 to 5, they're not happy and they want to go into entrepreneurship. What would be your advice on them?
I think it's always a great thing to utilize your assets. If you already have a job, keep working and pour money into your side job. Just learn skills, be that very familiar with the online job, with the online world, I mean. It's always beneficial to learn about digital marketing or learn about online business. Because if you're able to utilize skills and sell a service, eventually you will be able to replace your job. And if you already have a job, that's a huge advantage because you already have an income stream. If you then throw money onto advertisements, you throw money onto hiring people, you can build a business in such a short amount of time, you know. And I think a very great thing as well is to have some sort of coaching and mentorship. Find someone who's already doing it, invest in a course that's worthful, watch content, don't try to do everything on your own. And yeah, really don't focus on the over preparing, just take the action, actually try to do things. Like don't work on your skills for 1 year, like work on your skills for 1 week and try to make money, and then eventually you'll be able to improve everything. So, you know.
Good point about the coaching. You know, I think we'll wrap it up there. How about you tell us about your coaching? What's your website? Plug that.
Sure, sounds good, man. I guess the link will be dropped right here, but I help online creators and entrepreneurs and people who aspire to launch their own online business. Everything I've learned from the following, from my past time and everything, my experience, I've put it into a course with guides and videos and tutorials. So I'm basically having my own program where I help people exactly start up their own business. And for that, I offer some coaching as well. I try to be very connected with everybody who engage with my products, and I try to help them as much as possible. So whenever if you would like to start your own business, you can reach out to me. You can find me online, and I'll be able to help you out.
All of his links in the description. Thank you again, bro. Thank you for coming on the show, bro.
It was a wonderful experience, man. I really liked it. You're an excellent host, and I'm looking forward to the next time, man.
Thank you, bro. You're a great speaker.